Welcome to Open Books, the most cozy corner of the world. Before we dive into our enchanting bedtime story, don't forget to grab your favorite blanket, find that perfect comfy spot. So, get ready to unwind, relax, and let the magic of storytelling guide you into a world of dreams. On a sunny day, a farmer's wife plowed all kinds of plants in her garden. One day she planted a special barley plant with a strange wish in her heart. She walked over to the barley, looked at the strong sprouts and thought, "I wish this barley plant would grow a little, beautiful girl, just like my thumb." As the days went by, the barley grew stronger and stronger, and finally the buds began to appear. The farmer's wife excitedly went to the buds and kissed them gently, unconsciously making her own strange wish. At that very moment, she felt a wonderful magic, as if something magical was about to happen. As the bud blossomed into a beautiful flower, the peasant woman was surprised to find a tiny girl, the size of her thumb, hidden among the petals. Her face was delicate, her eyes bright, and she bloomed like a flower. The farmer was so delighted that she named the little girl Thumbelina. Thumbelina lived among the petals of the flowers, and her eyes were full of curiosity about this beautiful world. Her little hands felt the petals of the flowers, and each one was her own little world. As the farmer's love for her continues to grow, Thumbelina learns to speak the language of the flowers and to communicate with them. The days are full and happy, and Thumbelina's smile seems to light up the garden. However, these beautiful days are about to be put to the test. One day, Thumbelina is playing happily among the petals of the flowers, but she doesn't realize that a greedy mother toad is watching her from afar. Mother Toad had a dream of finding a beautiful bride for her son, so that the family could live happily ever after. So Mummy Toad decided to kidnap Thumbelina when she wasn't looking. One night, while Thumbelina was sleeping among the petals of a flower, Mummy Toad crept up to her, gently swallowed her in her pocket with a soft tongue, and hurried back to her toadstool home. The next morning, Thumbelina wakes up to find herself confined to a huge lotus leaf, surrounded by unfamiliar, moist surroundings. She was confused and had no idea how she got here. It turned out that she had been kidnapped by Mother Toad, and the leaf was her prison. Thumbelina cries on the leaf, longing to return to her garden. However, just then, a small fish and a kind butterfly in the water saw her plight. The fish bites off the stem of the leaf, while the butterfly pulls Thumbelina's ribbon and lets her float down from the heights, successfully escaping from Mother Toad's plot. Thumbelina expresses her gratitude to her little companions, and this unexpected adventure makes her appreciate freedom and friendship even more. However, her adventures are not yet over, and more challenges await her. After Thumbelina escapes from Mother Toad's scheme, she feels as if she has returned to the freedom of the garden. She bids a grateful farewell to the fish and butterflies, and then wanders through the forest alone. However, the forest is not as familiar and cozy as her garden, and is full of unknown adventures. During her wanderings, Thumbelina discovers a shiny beetle with a jewel-like shell that sparkles with colors. When the beetle sees Thumbelina, he is so impressed by her beauty that he immediately takes her back to the beetle's home. However, this beauty was not recognized by the other females. They felt that Thumbelina, with only 2 legs, didn't fit the mold of a beetle, so they all ostracized her and finally decided to abandon her in the cold forest. Thumbelina walked alone in the forest, and the cold winter made her feel extremely miserable. As she walked, she stopped, exhausted, by the roots of a tree. Just then, a kindly old lady vole appeared in front of her. Seeing Thumbelina's sorry state, Granny Vole took pity on her and decided to take her in and give her a warm place to stay for the winter. In her home, Thumbelina gradually adapts to her new environment. Granny Vole offers her care and friendship, making her feel less lonely. But the happy times don't last long, because Granny Vole has a request. When spring arrives, Granny tells Thumbelina how she will repay her for saving her life. "My child, spring is coming, and I want you to marry a mole I know. He saved my life in the forest, and we need to pay him back." Granny Vole's words gave Thumbelina pause for thought, and she knew she had a difficult choice to make. Thumbelina knows in her heart that if she marries the mole, it will mean that she will never be able to return to the sunny surface of the earth, and will live forever in the darkness below. She misses the fragrance of the flowers, the green of the grass, and the warmth of the sun on her body. But at the same time, she knew that it was her duty to repay Granny Vole for saving her life. So Thumbelina was faced with a difficult choice. She walked alone to the edge of the forest, looked up at the stars, and thought deeply about her future. She remembers the happy times among the petals of the flowers, but she also remembers her lonely experience on the lotus leaf and her abandonment in the beetle's house. Thumbelina's heart rubs in conflict, and she feels her own struggle and helplessness. What will Thumbelina do next? Does she decide to marry the mole, or does she look for another way out? Let's follow her story and see how she navigates this difficult journey. As Thumbelina ponders her decision to marry the mole, a warm spring breeze blows in, bringing a new friend. A colorful bird landed in front of her with wisdom and kindness in its eyes. The bird said, "Little girl, I've heard that you're faced with a difficult choice, and that it would be hard to repay Granny Mole for saving your life without marrying the mole, but have you thought about the other possibilities?" The bird's words give Thumbelina renewed hope. The bird offered her a chance, saying, "I can take you out of this forest and you can pick a flower and make it your new home." Thumbelina nodded gratefully, and a new sense of anticipation welled up in her heart. So the bird flew Thumbelina over the fields of flowers and through the trees to a sea of colorful flowers. Thumbelina felt the warmth of the sun, and the scent of the flowers filled the air. It was like a fairyland. She is led by a bird to a sea of flowers, each with its own unique scent. In this sea of flowers, Thumbelina found a particularly enchanting flower with silky petals and rainbow colors. She took a deep breath of the flower's fragrance and decided to make it her new home. At that moment, a melodious music floated in the air, as if the whole nature was cheering for her. Just as Thumbelina was about to settle down, a noble elf prince appeared from the petals of the flower. The elf prince's appearance was as delicate as the petals of the flowers, and his eyes shone with wisdom and gentleness. Looking at Thumbelina, he was deeply attracted by her beauty. The elf prince walked to Thumbelina and said, "Your beauty surpasses the petals of a flower, and I am fascinated by you. I would like you to be my queen and live with me in this sea of flowers." Thumbelina felt a warmth in her heart, and she accepted the elf prince's proposal and changed her name to Maya. Not only that, but the elf prince also gave Maya a pair of wings so that she could fly freely in the sky. Together, they flew to the land of the elf prince, which was full of fantasy and happiness. Maya no longer had to worry about the darkness of the earth, and she lived happily ever after with the elf prince. In the land of the elves, Maya regains the sunshine she lost, and she and the elf prince explore the magical land and enjoy each other's company. This happily ever after story is like a beautiful dream, and Maya finally finds her happiness. At the end of the story, we see Maya, the Thumbelina, finding solace in the arms of the elf prince, with happiness and contentment in her eyes. This is an ending full of miracles and love, and it also makes us believe that no matter how many difficulties we face, happiness is always waiting for our endeavors and perseverance. That's the end of today's story. I hope you'll listen to this and fall into a deep sleep. If you enjoyed tonight's story, please like, subscribe, and share this for us before you go to bed. Sleep tight, dream big, and may your night be filled with the most sweet dreams. Good night, my friends.